I'll give you a quick overview of my Acer W700. I purchased this over Christmas as a replacement for my iPad. I've got an iPad 1, which I've enjoyed, but it's got a bit old in the tooth now, and I was either going to update it into the latest iPad 4 or 5, whatever it is now, or looking for something different, and I've chosen to go for a Windows 8 machine. These had some cashback offers on, and that made them the similar price. This is a 128GB model i5, and I'm going to get it after cashback for about 450 quid. Which, if I was going to get 128GB iPad, is a similar price. To be honest, I would have gone for the iPad mini if anything, but yeah, anyway, went for the Windows 8. Very pleased with it. Thought I'd mention some issues with it, but for 450 quid I think these are an absolute bargain. Okay. Good points about this. It's a let's go to the desktop. So I've got this set up in, oh, I got rid of my email. This is 1080p, and I've got it set to 100%, no font scaling. I find it perfectly usable like that. The desktop, however, you need a pointer. Using your finger, it is possible, but as everybody points out, clicking these buttons, okay, it works there, but it's a bit fiddly, especially when you start to go to YouTube, or let's open up Chrome and go to YouTube. The keyboard on this is great as well, love it. Right, done. Almost prepared. Pause. So this is what I was after. We've got one of these free with something. It's just a rubber tipped pen, but compared to your finger, it's a lot more precise. So oh, let's just have a look at the CNET. Yeah. When I try and expand it, oh, it does all work, but damn, yeah, these things are darn small. It's doable.
And even on car roofs. That's a solar panel.
Already at 720. This just makes it a little bit easier. But to be honest, if you're doing anything in desktop mode, you're going to want a Bluetooth mouse, and then that's fine. In this mode, the reason why I've got this is because we've got OneNote, I can get Outlook, and more importantly to me, basically any desktop application, but I'm using this as a 10 or 11 inch laptop or netbook, and what I was doing beforehand, so we bought one of these from a partner a long time ago, and I test drove using Visual Studio on a netbook, and I found actually this is the original netbooks are pretty darn good. Okay, they're underpowered, and certainly although you can put Windows 8 on one of these old netbooks, there's just not enough power on there. The newer netbooks, which is what I was considering before I bought this, I was considering the Asus T100, and that was coming in at £400 for a 64GB Atom processor. So this, which is an i5, 4GB of memory, and 120GB SSD, a fast SSD, it's a no-brainer. It's just, and this has got a 1080p display for a kind of a netbook replacement. This is fantastic. It comes with a keyboard, really nice screen, and for reviewing code and or just say if I was going to use OneNote, it's great. It's oops, for this kind of thing as a netbook, it's fantastic. Love it. As a tablet, however, so when you're comparing it to an iPad, well, I've had this for 4 years. This is an iPad 1, and the iPad's great as a tablet, as a play device for games and things like this. When I tried to get the iPad to be usable as, say, a remote desktop to a Visual Studio, so a Windows 8 computer, and I could do Visual Studio stuff, not so good. I mean, it works, but we're trying to make a tablet, and it's just a little bit too small into something that is like a netbook, and it just doesn't work as well. You're better off getting the netbook. However, this Windows 8 netbook type of arrangement doesn't work half as well as a tablet. So you're doing one trade-off the other. I prefer this. This is focused on productivity and being able to write stuff, do documents, do email. This does email just fine as well, but this is more focused on the games and entertainment. However, the big disadvantage for me on this, on whether it will apply going forward, is this is now out of date. This, and even my old netbook, this is very dusty. This, we can install the latest software on it. I can install Windows 8.1 if I wanted. It would be slow, and it was slow, and I could download Netflix. On this, I've got Netflix. This interface, the Windows 8 apps, there isn't that many applications. It's disappointing. The games themselves are more expensive. There might be better games, maybe, or yeah, they're good games, but the applications themselves, there's not half as much. On here, on the iPad, we get you can get the free app of the day. You get the 12 days of Christmas free apps from Apple. You get lots of freebies, and the apps themselves tend to be quite small in size, and also cheap. You can pick up Dead Space for 69p. EA keeps doing these sales. All of these different discounted games. Over on the Windows Store, one, they're not even there, but they just don't have the discounted games. There's not that competition. So you have to pay more for less choice. One of the points people make is, well, I can install Steam and I can access all my games. I was going to update. I can access all my Steam games. Yes, you can, but most of those require a keyboard and mouse. So it's great. I can play Half-Life 2 on this. I can play lots of games as though it's a PC. Keyboard, screen, mouse works great. Most of those games don't work with a touchscreen. Yeah, it just doesn't work. On here, on the other hand, you've got all the games and they are touchscreen based. For your touchscreen games, you have to go to the store, and so we've got Sparkle 2 and the Skulls of Shogun, and they work really well. No problems there. Okay. But the big disadvantage, and the advantage on Windows 8, a disadvantage for the iPad, is that this, which is now 3 or 4 years out of date, this is the iPad 1, I can't actually install the latest apps. One, I've updated the operating system as much as I can go, but I can't. Oh, there you go, it's just crashed. One, yeah, it crashes. But two, if I try and install Netflix, say, oh, come on. There we go. Anyway, I'll come to install it. It'll allow me to get it slowly. This slowness, it's always there, unfortunately. Right. But anyway, I'll try and install it. It'll start it off, but then it'll say I need iOS 7, so I can't get Netflix, or iOS 6 or later. Whether Apple will be so restrictive on their upgrades with later versions, who knows? I think the original iPad is quite a lot slower than the other iPads, so maybe they'll push. But you're in Apple's hands. Microsoft, on the other hand, have always had the stance: you can get the update for any of your computers. I can install Windows 8.1 on a 10-year-old computer if I want. Yeah, so I should be able to install apps from the store on this hardware for greater than 3 years. So this is a better investment. The other thing, I'll just bring my phone into this. So I originally had a Apple phone, which has gone somewhere. So I had the iPhone 3GS, which I loved when it came out. Wonderful phone. Disappointed that Apple didn't upgrade the screen size. Unlock this one. I've moved across to the Samsung Note 2, which I think is a very good phone. I really would have liked something like the iPad mini from Apple, but to work as a phone. That would be ideal, I think. The Android phone works really well, but it's a bit of a fiddle with... so on this one, by default, everything installs to the memory, and then you have to try and move it off to the SD card. Things don't work quite as nicely as the Apple phone. Also, the games themselves, when you compare the size of them, on the iPad or the iPhone, they tend to be half the size. They're compressed much better. Whereas you get it on this, and they take up twice the space. Yeah, not something that I'd considered before. You think, well, I've got 16 gigabytes or whatever it is on your phone, but actually you've got half the amount of space potentially. On this one, thankfully, you can stick in an SD card and move a lot of the games across. But anyway, just a thought. But anyway, this screen size is fantastic as a phone. I don't tend to use my phone for calls. I tend to use it for emails and applications and just getting data on the go. And having a phone this size is absolutely no problem whatsoever. In fact, one of the tricks that I do, rather than carrying a wallet and a phone, I just stick it in there. So I've got everything in one package, and it's no bigger than a normal wallet would be. Yeah, such a simple solution. Okay, I don't know where I was going there. Steam games don't seem to work too well. Apps run really well. Oh, problems with this particular device on the W700. Sometimes the Bluetooth mouse goes slow. I haven't found a solution for that. It doesn't affect a different wireless mouse. So if I stick a dongle in there and use a non-Bluetooth mouse, it works fine. It might actually just be this cheap Bluetooth mouse that I've got. And the other thing that, again, I haven't found a solution for, sometimes the on-off button, which is here, forgets what it's for. I don't understand how they managed to do this, but anyway, it turns on and off the narrator, and that's a known issue with these Acer models. You've gone on the forum, and what they say to do is you hold down the Windows Start button down here for 4 seconds, then you use the on-off button, and it's reverted back to its normal self. Okay, yeah, application experience. Let's just try a couple of things. So, let's do YouTube. Oops. YouTube. Oh, MegaTube. There's no YouTube app for this, but let me get it up on both. Oops. Okay, I was giving a quick demo of YouTube, because that's one thing that I can share between the two. Amazing Earth, I'd started that before. Right, YouTube over here, I'm going to do the same on the iPad. There you go, we'll do the sci-fi short film, because I haven't seen that before. Click that over there. And full screen. Actually, let's just check the... Where do I get to set? I just assume... Oh, there you go. Oh, this application only goes up to 720. That's a shame. Okay, on the main website we can. I've installed MegaTube. It's a real shame that there's no YouTube client. Picture wise, that's pretty good. Both in, there we go. Anyway, they're both good experiences. Let me set this up on its stand. This is a very old case that I've got. I'd say the sound is slightly better on this one, but it's louder on the Acer. But it's louder. Oops, I can do it on the iPad. They're both set to full brightness. Anyway, they're both pretty good. That one obviously bigger screen, fits it all nicely. I use that one for Netflix. It's a really good experience. Let's try. That one seemed to fit better. In fact, let's try it. So the other way that I'd do things, I'd go Internet Explorer and let's search for 1080p. Planet Earth. And then I can set it to. So this one definitely louder. I'd say that one sounds fuller somehow, but nowhere near as loud. But anyway, both good devices. But I much prefer the Acer now. Now I've got it, and they're coming down in price, these devices, and the fact that I've got the full, so I can use SQL Management Studio or any full desktop apps. But I'm cheating really. I'm using this as a netbook. The tablet experience, the tablet only experience, the iPad's better. However, what I'd really want, I don't really want a tablet this size. This is perfect for this size. I also have a desktop computer. This just gives me access to my desktop applications in a portable package. What I really want is the iPad shrunk down to be the iPad mini and replace my phone as well. So if the iPad mini could also have the phone, that would be great. But alternatively, I'm just going to stick with the Android system, or maybe even go to Windows. But yeah, having a larger phone is fantastic, and yeah, the extra size is not a problem. Alright, hopefully that was useful.